Here we go on the track. It's Jan Balla moving on the pack. Marge Laszlo coming up right behind her on this jam. Tucker there with a block on Balla. This Laszlo going to the outside, trying to move in for points. The real battle. There's Balla with a knee block into Tucker. Laszlo now moving in there. Down goes Balla. The Bombers hammering away at the rear of the pack. Laszlo moving in there, going to the outside now. And she's hit in there. But how many points in there? And there's a knee block on Tucker by Koshu. Let's see what the officials say about points on this play. As we welcome the new stations on this Bay Bomber Roller Derby Network. This action is coming away from the Oakland Coliseum Arena in Oakland, California, with the scores: the Bombers 23 and the Jolters 20. This is Walt Harris and Jerry Seltzer to call the action. We've got a lot of it in this game. Every time the Jolters get on that track, you know you've got action, because they're a wild, rough, tough team, and the Bombers under Charlie O'Connell are skating that kind of a game this year also. As I mentioned earlier, a little later, Jerry Seltzer will be passing some very important information along. If you got a piece of paper and a pencil handy, you can jot it down. And he gives you that information right now on the track. The battle has started throughout this game. Koshu and Carol Meyer going at it. Carol Meyer, 37 of the Bombers. Francine Koshu of the Jolters. Oh, Koshu moves away. She wins this round. There'll be more rounds to come the way they've been skating. 5 minutes to go here in the first period of play in the last half, the fifth period in the game. Down is a Bomber. Carol Meyer, and Koshu clobbers her. She gets up. Koshu has 1 point for the Jolters. There's Tucker in the block, 34. Jan Balla throws a hip into Tucker. Tucker's passed for another point. Now it's Laszlo slowing down Koshu, who has already scored 2. In the pack, it's Balla blocking. 2 more points for Koshu. Not by Laszlo, but she picked up 2 more, and she cuts off the jam. Settles for the 4 big points. Jolters the lead, 24-23 over the Bombers.
Right after this jam, Walt, coming up, we want to tell the fans how they can get a free copy of the roller derby rules. Right now, I'd like to say about some big upcoming games. In Stockton at the air-conditioned Civic Auditorium, the Bombers will be meeting the Jolters Wednesday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. You fans up in Reno, the Bombers are coming up against the powerful Chiefs Thursday, June 28th at the Centennial Coliseum in Reno. Look out. For you fans in Tucson and Phoenix, roller derby comes to Phoenix at the Arizona Coliseum on Friday, August 31st at 8 p.m. and to Tucson at the Tucson Community Center on Saturday, September 1st at 8 p.m. Watch for these games.
That Ballo's losing her temper out there, Jerry. She just threw a Bomber helmet clear off the track, almost up here in the stands. So here we go, 24-22, the Jolters leaving. It's Marge Laszlo on the jam, and out with her on the play is number 6, Pam Kaniva for the Jolters of Laszlo. Down, Kaniva wins the battle and skates away. So now it's the Jolters with the threat. Pam Kaniva has already caught the pack. Dolores Tucker back to the block, number 34 for the Bombers. Here comes Laszlo again on the jam, but Jan Balla is back to the block for the Jolters. Double blocks it up, and they dump Laszlo. Now they're moving on Tucker. Tucker clobbered by Balla. Not fast as yet, though. Kaniva cut off in there by Tucker still. So into the pack goes Jan Balla, grabs a couple of skaters by the head. They're passed for points. Blocking was legal. Laszlo moves in, might have got a point. Laszlo might have picked up a point. I guess not. It's 2 points in there for the Jolters, and they lead now 26-23 with 2:38 to go here in this period of play. Jerry?
If you'd like to understand this game better and get a free copy of the rules, put your name, address, city, zip code, and the station on which you watch roller derby on a postcard and send it to the Roller Derby Rules, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California, 94604, and you will receive a free copy of the rules. And maybe, Walt, you can take it down and give a copy to Jan Balla so she can read about all the ones she violates.
Look out! Balla had Bill Morrissey around the waist, an official down there, and he lost his balance and over and thought they went down like a couple of trees. I think Balla wants to apologize. He's afraid that Morrissey might think she pulled him down deliberately. Like a tree going down there, just sort of slow motion and crash.
I thought it was slow motion for a moment there. You could see it happen.
Minute 44 to go here in this fifth period of play. 27-23, the Jolters lead the Bombers.
Why don't we ask Phil Bender, our director, if he can show that to us again?
I tell you, this is one game that at times you can do it, and it's very effective, but it is so fast that if you you what you might lose the next play.
That's true, and here we go, Walt, proving your point.
You know. So here we go, Carol Meyer in the jam. Marge Laszlo's going out with her, and Jan Vallow in pursuit. Jan Vallow moving in on Laszlo and Carol Meyer. A whip to Carol. No, she whips her back, and Vallow stays up. Hit by Laszlo, though, now. Laszlo goes to work. Down goes Laszlo. Vallow still up, spinning around, though. Laszlo gets up in front of her. Carol Meyer alone in the jam, moving on the pack now. The Bombers with a threat here as they trail by 4. Double block set up back there by Pam Geneva and Jan Vallow. Geneva on the inside. Jan Vallow on the outside. They dump Carol Meyer. Carol gets up again. Peanuts will try it again. Here she goes, moving on that double block. Laszlo comes back there, tries to help Carol out, to trying to set up a play that'll work and get some points here for the Bombers. Laszlo hammers in there, but they close the gap on Carol. Now they're talking again. That didn't work. Let's try something else. The time is running short on the jam. Laszlo moving. Here she comes. Throws herself in there. Carol down under her. Right for 2. Laszlo has her around the legs. Toshu. Geneva there for the Jolters. Tucker and Laszlo for the Bombers. 8 seconds left in this period. Officials trying to get them untangled without any damage being done out there. The Bombers did pick up 2 points in play. Carol Meyer going over the rail now. Trainer out there to help her. That is the end of the 5th period of play with the score. The Bay Area Bombers 25 and the Jolters 27. Harris and Jerry Seltzer here at the Oakland Coliseum Arena, great sports complex in Oakland, California. We got the Jolters and the Bombers going at it on the track, and the men are out there now to take over in the 6th period of play with the score. The Jolters 27 and the Bay Area Bombers 25. Pete Boyd wearing the pivot helmet for the Bombers. Big number 36, the moving wall. Wearing the pivot helmet is Jerry Cattell, the blonde tiger for the Jolters. Both clubs at full strength, breaking fast. James Paul, 32 for the Bombers. He's got company. That's Cal Stevens with the blocker's helmet moving on him. Hammers him. Jerry Cattell has the lead in the jam now as he gets a whip here from Cal Stevens, the 2 big muscle men on this Jolter club. And Pete Boyd breaks out of there, but no, he's going to try and go, but he's half a lap back. Cattell should catch that back before Pete Boyd gets up there. Charlie O'Connell moving on Cal Stevens out in front there. There they are, top of your screen on the left. There they are. O'Connell. They put Cal Stevens back in the pack. So the only threat now is Jerry Cattell, number 9, moving here for the Jolters, their pivot skater on this play. In trouble. Pete Boyd passed for the point, and Stevens continues to work on Boyd and puts him down. One Jolter point on the play. They lead now 28-25.
Obviously, the Jolter strategy seems to be trying to weaken Pete Boyd here. Jerry Cattell could have cut off the play long before, but had he done so, Cal Stevens would have received a penalty for blocking after jam. And he kept that jam going just long enough to let Stevens work on Pete Boyd. And then when he saw that James Paul was getting close, he called the play off.
And there's the moving wall was going backwards, and Cattell and Stevens hit the deck as the moving wall backed right into him. Like a cement truck going backwards, Jerry.
Doesn't look like it hurt him too much.
I don't think they softened up Pete Boyd too much either. He's ready to go again. You got to be ready to go in this game.
What a great addition he's been to this team. Of course, with the Red Devils coming in, I think Bob Woodbury's in for a surprise. Of course, they were teammates on the Red Devils before, and now they're going to meet in a match race in the first game of this upcoming series.
So here we go on the play. Larry Smith is out. Tony Roman right behind him for the Bombers. Smith 5 for the Jolters. Roman 37 alongside. There's the pack as they jockey for position. Roman now has the lead on the jam. There they are. They try and catch the pack. When they do get up there, for every man they pass, they will get a point. Every man on the opposing team they pass. Roman is down. Larry Smith moves away now. Larry Smith knows all the tricks out there. He's a very clever skater. Pete Boyd puts him down. He runs into Roman. They both go down. Smith out-scrambles Roman. Moving in the pack again, there's Pete Boyd, 36 to block for the Bombers. Cal Stevens trying to move out Pete Boyd. Smith can't get by the moving wall. Roman hits Smith, puts him down. Now there's a block by O'Connell. Roman goes by to the he cuts it off. Officials run out there immediately. You got to keep track of what's going on, keep control of the game. Score now, the Bombers 26 and the Jolters 28.
Well, we have a lot of fans watching in the Northwest, and they're going to get a great tour up there between the Pioneers and the Chiefs, 2 of the top teams in the league. In Eureka, California, July 23rd. Coos Bay, Oregon on July 25th. There'll be Kids Day, Kids Free in Portland, Oregon on July 26th. University of Puget Sound at Tacoma on July 27th, Seattle Center Arena on July 28th, the new ice arena in Bellingham on July 29th, and I'll finish this later.
They got two great teams coming their way, and the Pioneers and the Chiefs. They're loaded with talent. On the jam, Alvin Mallory, 33 for the Bombers. Chris Rowe, number 3 for the Jolters. Each team with one man out on the play. But they're hitting in that pack. They're closing on the pack now. Mallory with the lead, 33. He was shaken up in the first half. Really wobbly out there on his skates. Big Boyd dumps Chris Rowe. Now he's moving on Cal Stevens. Rides him. Stevens gets away from his block. Pete Boyd puts another block on Chris Rowe. Mallory still can't find skating room to pick up any points here on the Jolters, who lead the Bombers by 2. Pete Boyd to lead the charge. Chris Rowe's right behind him with the Jolters. They better not make a mistake. There, it's cut off before I think Pete Boyd was passed. It's Stevens and Pete Boyd go at it. Here they go. 255 pounds on both sides out there. They're swinging away. A couple of super heavyweights on the loose. O'Connell getting in there now. Patel getting into the middle of it. Oh, Patel puts the right, comes back to the right. He and O'Connell trading right hands out there. Pete Boyd. Now Stevens slugging with a little O'Connell and Boyd. The referee caught in the middle now. I was going to break this up. Let him go. Oh, ran. 1, 2, 3. Patel and Cal Stevens has Pete Boyd. They can't break it up with these 4 men going at it. No way can they break it up. No way. Right across the trainer's table. They're pulling Patel apart, making a wish with him.
I guess the fans in the Bay Area are fortunate because these 4 are going to be in a big match race here at the Open, or rather at the Cow Palace. I think the fans like it. You know, Walt, it's kind of tough to judge these things, but that looks like one of Charlie's greatest fights.
Hey, the crowd, our director Phil Bender showed you how they enjoyed the action. And we got it in this one. If you want to know the score, that's 28-27. The Jolters lead by 1. That's almost incidental right now.
It's amazing how you can forget about the score. The game gets so exciting, you don't care who wins or loses.
Cattell does. He wants victory for the fight.
You know, I'm certain he doesn't need any apologies, but, well, before tonight's game, Cal Stevens has the flu. He's got a fever. He shouldn't be skating. And you can hardly tell it the way he's going out there. What I'm trying to say is he's going to be stronger for tomorrow's game.
On the track with 3 skaters from each team. Couldn't catch the other dress announcer's message there from the referee. So we're minus O'Connell and Pete Boyd at the moment, and Cal Stevens and Jerry Cattell on the track. James Paul in the jam, 32, right behind him. Big Sean Watson, number 6. A well set up guy out there. Larry Smith blocking, number 5, the pivot element here. And he upends James Paul. Now he's moving, blocking here for James Paul, number 6. They've got blocking. He's off in the infield, though. He did not pass. He has to go behind him and pass again. You cannot put a skate in the infield and pass their point. Smith is down hard, and Paul battles through there for 2 points for the Bombers. Mallory, the Bombers, standing at this end, swinging every Jolter that comes by. Mallory was really out on his feet in the first half. Has been standing here slugging every Jolter that came around this end of the track. Mallory really out for revenging what happened to him in the first half. Oh, going over. James Paul jumped the bench out there and clobbered a Jolter. Here we go again. Man on wheels. That's what we got here in this one. Those Bombers are really pouring the coals here to this Jolter club.
I would have to say, Walt, in the past, the Bomber fans always felt that the Bombers kind of laid low. While we've got a moment here, try and get things organized. If you'd like to see the great new newspaper, Roller Derby Illustrated, you can get a free copy by sending your name to Roller Derby Illustrated, Post Office Box 17, New York, New York 10001. It comes out 24 times a year, has all the line scores, all the information on roller derby. It's a great paper. And if you'd like to subscribe, 24 issues per year for just $6.
Man, oh man, we got it here. The Bombers lead 29-28 with 3:30 to go in the 6th period of play, and we're having a tough time keeping teams out there. You have to have 3 men on the track at a time. You say 3 men on a 5-man squad draw penalties, and one stays out there till there's room in the penalty box for him. Can't have less than 3. Pete Boyd on the track. Jerry Cattell with Cal Stevens still in the infield. Here we go there. Bombers flagged off. The Bombers only allowed 3. O'Connell, Roman, and Pete Boyd stay out there. There are 4 Jolters and 3 Bombers. And O'Connell and Pete Boyd are after Jerry Cattell. There they are. They're out to get him. No question about that. They're really rapping. Officials keeping an eye on the action. Jammers are moving on him. They're really working over Cattell. They're going to have to carry him out of here. Pete Boyd does the finishing job. O'Connell helps. O'Connell lost another penalty. He'll go right back into that penalty box. Boy, our temper's flaring in this game.
Well, Charlie O'Connell has said it. He said they're not going to injure this team. We are big and we're strong, and if I go to the penalty box, we got Pete Boyd.
Up at this end where O'Connell is, he's facing Cal Stevens, and the referee is brave because he walks right in between both of them. 29-29 is the score.
You know, it's funny, Walt, here at the Oakland Coliseum Arena, the scoreboard at the top says War Friday, and they're right. There will be a war on Friday because Charlie O'Connell and Pete Boyd are going to take on Cal Stevens and Jerry Cattell at the compound.
There goes O'Connell and Cal Stevens. 2 minutes in penalties now on O'Connell. Oh, and there's a Cattell looking for somebody to hit. Oh, man.
Charlie's going to have to be careful of us. He's going to get thrown out of this game.
He's coming close to it right now. I think one more right now, and officials might say that's it. They wouldn't wait for the total penalty time. Oh, we're still going to only have 4 Bombers out there, and we have 5 Jolters. O'Connell in the penalty box. He'll be there, I think, for 2 minutes. He's going to sit behind the penalty box. I don't know. Watch him down there. The Bombers are dishing it out. Here we go. The Jolters get 2 jammers out. Larry Smith and Chris Rowe are chasing him. Alvin Mallory, 33, a double block. Spins into the rail, loses a lot of ground. He's got to chase him again. Connell now goes into the penalty box. Referee made him get in there. He's still standing there watching the action. There are the 2 jammers. They're going to score. One picked up 3. Lost track of the other one. He's picked up a couple. Pete Boyd up there at the other end, and Cal Stevens. There's Jerry Cattell. Pete Boyd grabs Cattell. Pins him on the rail. O'Connell up there. They're working. Cattell and Pete Boyd. He gets up again. Steeler, he missed it, went out on the cement floor. Down here, they're trying to get Cattell and Pete Boyd apart. That's Cattell. O'Connell is really dishing it out in this one. Stevens just kicked another Bomber out on the floor. I don't know what the officials are going to have to do, but we'll find out in the next period because that is the end of the 6th period of play with the score on the scoreboard. The Bay Area Bombers 29 and the Jolters 34. Walt Harris and Jerry Seltzer here alongside the track, the Oakland Coliseum Arena. Well, we got one. Well, we got a war going here. That's what we got. The Jolters and the Bombers. The Jolters lead 34-29, and man, Jerry, that last period is something to behold.
Well, no matter what happens now, if they just skate, it probably won't seem as exciting, but that's what the game is all about. As I remarked to you between the periods, it seemed like the Bombers were winning everything there, except they're behind in this game, 34-29 to the Jolters.
Yeah, but I think they scored 3 knockouts and 10 unanimous decisions.
At least.
Here we go. Marge Laszlo out of the pack, chasing Jan Ballo and Francisco Shu, who are leading on this jam for the Jolters. So Laszlo has her work cut out. A double block set up in there. Hey, beautiful move in there by Laszlo. Come where they expected. She zipped when they zagged, and away goes Laszlo. She's closing on the pack now. She's the only threat. Jan Ballo is now back there to block. Jan Ballo, number 8. Where's the face mask? That's Marge Laszlo trying to pick up skating room. Not finding much room. The Bombers can't get a skater back there to give her any help. There's Carol Meyer, spins to the rail. Carol Meyer has a jammer's helmet on, but she's not in scoring position. It's Marge Laszlo who can pick up the points in the black pivot helmet. She whips Carol Meyer in a jump block into Vallow. Vallow goes down. Laszlo goes by for one. She picks up another one. Some help from Vallow, was trying to stay upright, holding on to Kniva, and she pulled Kniva down with her. So the Bombers pick up two, and a good play by Marge Laszlo. That makes the score 34-31. The Jolters lead.
Walt, I was telling fans about the Pioneer Chief Tour. Here's a couple more games. And in Hoquiam, Washington on July 30th, Spokane, Washington Coliseum on August 1st, Yakima, Washington August 2nd, and Walla Walla, Washington on August 3rd. If you'd like more information on any game coming to your area, keep watching this station, and it will appear during these telecasts.
Yeah, you can talk about that. You talk about some great teams. That Joni Weston-led Pioneers. That chief team who skates at the Garden in New York City with Bill Grohl, Sandy Dunn, Mike Gammon, nobody better than Mike, Judy McGuire.
Of course, everyone's excited about that big triple header in Shea Stadium in New York on May 26th, and the Chiefs are home team there. They probably will be favored, but we got fans coming from all over the country, Walt.
Well, that's going to be one of the biggest nights, probably the biggest night in the history of the International Roller Derby. That great triple header at Shea Stadium, May 26th. Anybody get a chance to see that is going to be very fortunate. What a night it's going to be. Here we go. Coming up in there, Pam Kniva, I believe. You can't see her number back there. The hair is so long. She loses her helmet as Tucker's blocking there, 34. Debbie Cho breaks away from the pack for the Bombers, and she's 3/4 of a lap back. Koshu back there to block now for Pam Kniva. They're talking things over. Jump block in there, whipped up there, Koshu, but it doesn't work, and down they go in a pile. Debbie Cho has 1 point. Because Koshu was past the point. Kniva did not get up and cut off that jam. Debbie Cho cuts it off. She picked up a point in there, though. That's right. She wouldn't quit. She got it, and now she's getting it from John Vallow down there. And Vallow draws a penalty, blocking after the play it ended. Bombers have 32 on the scoreboard now, and the Jolters have 34.
Well, that shows you something in this game. One team can be an offense, and suddenly within a few seconds the second team is, and you've got to be alert. Bombers got a point there by skating alertly, and
Tucker kicked off the track by Jan Vallow.
A little bit of byplay here.
It's a byplay that kills you in this game.
This certainly has been the most physical series I've seen the Bombers ever open with here. And for the fans on this network, it's only going to get worse next week when Ann Calvello comes in with her Red Devil team.
Tucker trying to get at Vallow. Tucker just glaring at Vallow. Tucker will be back in this jam, though, as a blocker. Bombers had 4 skaters out there. A pivot helmet is handed to Tucker. She'll put that on. Here we go. The Bombers have 4 skaters out there, and the Jolters have 1, 2, 3, 4. Both for the skater in the penalty box. Kathy Pulliam on the jam, 31, moving here for the Bombers. Koshu quickly takes over for the Jolters. Amita Ortiz out there to join Kathy Pulliam's Bombers. In the pack, there are 3 Jolters, there are 2 Bombers. Tucker, 34, will be back there to block the Bombers as Koshu is coming up fast on the jam. Jam cut off, though. 2 Bomber jammers right behind her. Koshu cut off the jam, did not gamble. She had been decked, and that meant the 2 Bomber jammers would have been scoring position and a good chance to pick up points on the Jolters. 34-32, the score remains. The Jolters lead.
The Jolters have a 2-point lead, Walt, and obviously there's no need to jeopardize it then. Jan Vallow in the penalty box. Francine Koshu probably did something very smart. See, look, Jan Vallow in that hockey mask. We've had some fans wanting to know what happened to Jan. She got her jaw shattered and gave up in Canada. And the doctor said she's going to be out 8 weeks, and she said, I am not. She got this hockey helmet and has been skating with it ever since while her jaw healed.
Here we go. Jabbers trying to break out of the pack. Jan Vallow's on the jam. Carol Meyer right behind her. Vallow waiting for Carol. Carol tried to just bounced right off Jan Vallow. Vallow with the size. He's all alone on the jam now. Carol Meyer starting to pick up speed again, about half a lap back. There's the pack as they wait for Jan Vallow. Tucker back to the block. Laszlo back to the block. Neva goes back to lead the charge for Vallow, but Vallow again takes care of Carol Meyer, who had caught up with her. Here's the whip. Vallow hammers. Blast her way through there. 3 big points for the Jolters, just like that. That makes the score now the Jolters 37 and the Bombers 32.
If you would like to have a game scheduled in your area and you have a gym at a high school or college or an arena in your city that seats more than 2,500 people and like to do a little bit of fundraising, write to Bookings, Post Office Box 1827, Oakland, California 94604. With the nice weather upon us, maybe you have an outdoor facility, a ballpark or a stadium. We can play outside too, as evidenced by the fact that we played before more than 50,000 in White Sox Park in Chicago, 35,000 here at the Oakland Coliseum Stadium, and a huge crowd at Shea Stadium. If you got a stadium in your city, we'd like to play there too.
Here we go with the next jam. At the rear of the pack, Laszlo and Vallow. Great shot. And these gals, look out. There are 4 jammers out of the play, both clubs at full strength. There's the secondary. There's the pack. Lead jammers, Pam Kaniva of the Jolters. Rita Ortiz right with her, 36 for the Bombers. They've caught the pack. Laszlo with the block on Kaniva. Vallow doing the same thing to Ortiz of the Bombers. Deadlock in there by Laszlo almost on Kaniva, who loses her helmet. Remember the new rule this year? You can score without the helmet. Knock loose, you continue to jam. The old rule was you could not jam without the helmet on. Down goes Ortiz. Tucker gets a shot in there, Kaniva. Vallow gets a shot at Tucker. Ortiz moves up, has the lead. Kaniva's down. The only threat is a bomber skater. Ortiz being blocked out there by Jan Vallow. Laszlo takes Vallow with a block, and she passed for the point, and Tucker goes to work on her. And a block by Laszlo. Down in the face goes Jan Vallow, and it's a point for the Bombers. They haven't chalked it up on the scoreboard yet. I think they're calling a penalty on that play and not awarding a point. This is Tucker was illegal blocking on Vallow. They do not allow the point. The score remains 37-32. One of the most amazing things about some of these skaters, Jerry, is the fact that I see Bob Woodbury over there scouting these 2 clubs. He's, of course, the big gun in that Red Devil attack. He looks dapper, well-dressed, cool, calm, good-looking guy. Then you put the skates on him, and he goes out there, and he's a maniac.
Well, of course, he's sitting next to another dapper gentleman, Ken Monty, the great former star of the Red Devils when they were in Brooklyn, and I guess you're going to be talking to those 2 gentlemen at the end of this game.
I don't mind it when they look like they do now, but when he gets on skates, I just am staying somewhere else.
Well, the only thing you could do, Walt, is put on a uniform and get on skates, too.
Are you kidding? Here we go. Vallow on the jam with a block. Moving away as she decked the bomber jammer on the play. Debbie Cho. Laszlo back to the block. Vallow is the big threat. She scored last time. She went out about 3 points. Their club leads by 5. They're trying to build up a lead for the men in the 8th and final period of play. Blocking Debbie Cho again by Vallow. She goes out on the cement. On the infield, a helmet. Vallow is down. Tucker got her. Tucker gets her again. Tucker's paying her respects. Bombers, they have her in a bomber bench. Vallow, she's got a hold of Pete Boyd, dragging him down with her. Boy, they upended Vallow right there in bomber territory, and her teammate's going to have to come in there and get her out. I don't know about the jam. I wasn't watching that any longer, Jerry. I was trying to keep track of Vallow.
So hard in one of these games. There's so much going on all the time on the track, and as you say, if you watch one thing, I was about to say to you, what jam? Who was out on the jam? I don't know. I was watching Tucker and Vallow, as I'm sure everyone else here was.
Oh, Vallow got a point, Jerry.
Okay. I knew somebody did.
That makes the score 38-32. The Jolters lead the Bombers. Our director, Phil Bender, always does an excellent job, and our cameraman, Ernie Fields, John Anderson, Hal Nielsen, and Larry Landis, Ed Watkins, and our 4 directors, Stanley Potter, the Cleveland Potters, Eduardo Ramirez. For all the work that they do on these telecasts. This one coming away from the Oakland Coliseum Arena. Professional basketball, professional ice hockey, you name it. All the major sports events out here.
I think
Carol Meyer in trouble.
I think it's minor league ice hockey, though, that they have here.
Here we go. Carol Meyer working on Kosciuszko. He really stormed back that time. Moving up on the pack now. Carol Meyer. There's Jan Ball on the block. Not a happy person to meet. Carol Meyer looking for some skating room. She'd rather outskate her than try and outfight her here. Right over the top. I don't know. They're trying to pull Carol right over the top. Kosciuszko farther back dumps another bomber jammer. Pulliam plays on Kosciuszko. Kosciuszko can knock it up there and score. Carol Meyer has 2, I think. 3 maybe. It's all legal. Trying for 4. She gets a 4th if it's legal. Cuts it off. Let's see what they miss it. We got to get the score in this 5-second score in the period. And 4 bomber points on the play. That is the end of the 7th period of play with the score. The Jolters 38, the Bay Area Bombers 36. Paul Harris and Gary Seltzer at the track here. Oakland Coliseum Arena. Roller derby action coming away on this Bay Bomber network. We have a turn on the track, the 8th period of play. The Jolters lead by 2, 38-36. And here we go. At the rear of the pack, they've got a bomber. They've got Pete Boyd way back there, way down the left-hand side now. They'll come into your picture in just a moment. There they are. They dumped him back there. Pete Boyd, all Smith, Stevens, Cattell, all working on him. There are 2 points in there. Picked up by the Bombers, no, by the Jolters, and 2 by the Bombers. Tony Roman got in there.
Well, that shows the importance. Tony was really following as close as he could to the Jolter Jammers, and they could not cut it off without him getting the 2 points. It was just impossible.
So whatever the Jolters did there, it didn't increase their margin. Gave him 2 points, but Bombers got 2. So it's 40-38 to score. Here we go again. Smith moving in the outside along with Sean Watson for the Jolters. James Ball trying to follow him out of there. He's got Pete Boyd in front of him. Boyd chasing the Jammers of the Jolter team. He's going to give a whip to James Ball. There's the whip. Way behind the pack. They're coming up on him right now, down in the heap there. O'Connell taken by Cattell and Cal Stevens. He was passed by both Jammers. That's 2 points for the Jolters, and the Bombers did not score that time. Score 42-38, so evidently the strategy here in this period is for the Jolters to gang up on 1 bomber at a time. That'll work as long as they get the lead Jammers out. If they don't, they might be in trouble. Way behind that back. Home on his deck. He's trying to jam, and he has to catch up with the back now before he can even attempt to get out. Now the Jolters got 2 men out again, but they're being chased this time. Mallory chasing him. Mallory chasing Larry Smith, number 5. Chris Rowe, number 3. Mallory's right behind him now. He goes by Smith. He grabs the lead. No, jump block. He slams Rowe right back into Smith, and Smith is mad, and he hits his teammate Rowe. Gives him a shove. So now that spoils the strategy of the Jolters as Alvin Mallory's in scoring position, but there's big muscle man Cal Stevens hammering him with blocks. Knee block in there by Cal Stevens. Another knee block by Stevens. Bombers trying to get back there to give him some help, but Cattell is making sure that O'Connell does not drop back. O'Connell and Smith skating behind O'Connell. Stevens almost went behind Mallory on that block, but not quite. O'Connell trying to get back there. Deck Smith again. He's around somebody, but the officials say. Roscoe helping in there. O'Connell helping. I think it's 1-point Bombers.
Looked to me like Bill Morrissey was going to call a penalty on Roscoe for cutting across and blocking without really being part of that play.
One official had signaled 1 point. The head official, of course, overruled him, and that is exactly what happened, Mr. Seltzer. 42-38 is the score. The Bombers did not pick up a point that they sorely needed, and they also lose a man in the process. They have 4 men out there. Jolters have 5.
This Western season is the shortest it's ever been this season, and you're going to be telling the fans during these telecasts about the next game coming up in their area. Be sure and go out. You're not going to get much opportunity to see it. It really ends earlier this year. The season is 4 weeks shorter than it was last year.
Tony Tony Roman on the jam. James Paul with him, and it's Jerry Cattell in pursuit for the Jolters. The Bombers have the 2 lead jammers, but Cattell blasted through him. Now they're in pursuit. Here's a whip to Tony Roman. Watch that speed off that whip. They've got Pete Boyd in trouble. Double block on him. Down go the Jolters, and it's Roman for 2, and he hits Cattell. He has the lead. He scores 2. He's still moving. Julian Watson is taken out of the by O'Connor. That's Steve by Roman. They're chasing Larry Smith. Pete Boyd has a block on him. Chris Rowe running. That's 4 for Roman. Tony Roman doing a great job. Charlie O. Pete Boyd. And that ties up the score. Brought a big roar out of the crowd here at the Oakland Coliseum Arena. 42-42 the score.
Well, as I said, the Jolters are definitely at a disadvantage in this game with Cal Stevens certainly not up to the potential that he'll be at by tomorrow when he gets over this flu. Jerry Cattell has to take a lot of the weight. And JoJo Stafford just acquired by the Red Devils, Ken Monty and Bob Woodbury. The Jolters are working out their lineup a little bit different tonight for this game, and by tomorrow I'm sure they're going to be running a little bit smoother.
Well, Cal Stevens let Cattell wear that exclusively in this game tonight because of his condition. Larry Smith on the jam. James Paul moving here for the Bombers. You got to watch the pack and watch the jammers because, man, things are happening in this game. 42-42. Paul working on Smith. There's the pack, and they're hitting in there. There's the jammers. Down went Paul. Smith spinning into the rail, loses a little ground. He's still trying to regain his balance. Another block in there by Smith, and Paul gets away from it. The ball is on the loose. Mallory hits. What happens? The pack gets you up, and you're getting up, and man, somebody takes a shot at you, and down you go again. You start bouncing you around like a ping pong ball. James Paul trying to score back there. There's Cal Stevens to block. Pete Boyd back there. Charlie O'Connell back there. The other half of the pack's on the other side of the track. Hey, hey, hey. Oh. Stevens caught in traffic. Pass for the point. And the Bombers lead for the first time in a long time. 43-42. 5:48 to go in the game.
One thing you have to say for the Jolters, they certainly have acquired size with their two new additions to the team. Number 10, Jake Harris, and number 6, Sean Watson. Sean's been skating with them a little while, but if anything, they're a bigger team than when the series started. It seems to me this season, everyone's saying how small skaters are. It seems to me this season, Walt, all the teams are much bigger, especially in the men's field. And I understand the Red Devils have a girl that weighs 240 pounds. Maybe you want to ask Ken Monty about her.
Does she skate with the men or the women?
Well, we're not sexist, so it doesn't make any difference.
Here we go. There's Alvin Mallory doing a great job that time on Chris Rowe. Mallory on the jam here for the Bombers who lead by 1. 5 minutes to go in the game. Here comes Mallory. He caught that back in a hurry. He's got plenty of time left to jam. There's Jerry Cattell. O'Connell looking at Cattell. Jump block. And Mallory scores and cuts it off. Watson gets up there, and Mallory hits him with the block, doesn't put him down.
I'm sure the fans watching this telecast realize by now, Walt, and the way they are not slowing down, that this is perhaps the hardest skated game they've seen all season.
James Paul tried a flying dropkick block there, didn't reach his man, and he went down hard.
A little bit embarrassing. If you'd like to put your name on the mailing list and receive special advanced scheduling information on games in your area, send your name to the Roller Derby mailing list, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California 94604. Please include the zip code number and also the station on which you are now watching this program. And if you're not watching this program now, don't write to us.
4 minutes to go, 44-42. Roman out of the jam, hammering Larry Smith, hits him again, hooks him under the chin, puts him down, rough block there that time. But Tony Roman on the loose for the Bombers now. At the rear of the pack, the Bombers have Cal Stevens. Pete Boyd and O'Connell have him. Here comes Roman. They're working on Cal Stevens. Roman goes by for 1. Stevens is down, and the Bombers are paying him back. They whip Roman back, O'Connell, as the lead goes into Cal Stevens. Thompson again, little dynamite Tony working on the big man. He better get out of there. Stevens is up and in pursuit. But Roman puts a skate into him as it catches up. And Roman goes after him again, and the crowd is on his feet. Cattell trying to get at Roman, and he gets it with O'Connell. Roman goes out and sets in the crowd. Safe place. Can't go out there after him. Tony goes on the track and belts Cattell as he gets there. Dynamite Tony. Small but powerful.
Of course, Tony Roman, just 5'4", but certainly one of the strongest people you'll ever want to meet. He is built like a heavyweight boxer from the waist up.
45-42 the Bombers lead, and I think they'll be skating without Tony Roman here for the next jam. 2:43 to go in the game. The Bombers with a 3-point edge over the Wild Jolters. Tony Roman went right up in the crowd that time, was going to sit there, and he knew he'd be safe.
Well, the usher made him move, Walt. He didn't have a ticket.
Smith tries to get out, and Pete Boyd puts him on the deck, and Pete Boyd's whipping out James Paul. Bombers have 4 skaters out there, but they have the only jammer out, James Paul, thanks to big Pete Boyd. 45-42, 2:10 to go in the game. Derry Cattell back dead of block. Cal Stevens on the infield being repaired. Rowe up there, and he's decked in there by James Paul. Cattell slowing down James Paul. Rowe moving again. Paul hits him again, puts him down. James Paul gets by Cattell with some great skating for a point. He's moving for more, and he's going to get one. Smith cuts him off, though. He could not get around Smith that time. Heavy traffic back there. Cattell blasting away. How is he by Smith? I don't know. Officials have to call the play. Not me, thank God. Donald belts. Cattell and Mallory belts him. He's down. They're not going to allow that point. Will be handed out. I think O'Connell will get one for sure. Possibly Mallory. Oh boy. Kind of a game that you really got to hang on to your seat. 1 point on the play. 46-42 to score.
I'm trying to figure out if that was O'Connell's 8th minute penalty. If it is, he's ruled out the game. According to my sheet, no, he's got 7 minutes.
O'Connell's still out there. I think he's ignoring the officials.
If you'll look at O'Connell's helmet when he comes around next time, you will see a big dent in it, so you can see how hard he was hit.
Well, he won't come around all the way. He's been flagged off the track. There he is. He's been flagged off the track. Bombers with 4, the Jolters with 5. The last jam in the game coming up. 38 seconds in the period, unless it's a tie game. 46-42, the Bombers lead, and the Jolters get a man out, but Tony Roman is in pursuit. Tony Roman chasing Larry Smith here on the play. Tony Roman, if he gets the lead, he can cut off the jam, and it's a win for the Bombers. Talk to Bob Woodbury in this game to get money. Blocked in there by Stevens, and Roman is down, but he's up again. Smith trying to score. Pete Boyd cuts him off, puts him into the rail. Roman has the lead in the jam, and he's cut off by Cal Stevens. Didn't get a chance to cut off the play. Roman way behind the puck now. Pete Boyd gets away from the Stevens block, puts a block on Larry Smith. Roman up there battling with Larry Smith, trying to get the lead up, and no, it's Roman that goes down. Smith trying to score, but Pete Boyd with a big leg lock. Pete Boyd sensational here in this period. Roman again gets up there, has the lead, but he wants a shot at Smith, and he takes it. Now it's Pete Boyd. We have 15 seconds of jammy time left. Game time is over. Roman moves in there and cuts it off. Roman cuts it off. He didn't need any points, but he killed that threat. Ran out the game time, and that was it. So that's a win for the Bombers over the Jolters in a real tough game. The final score in this game, the Bay Area Bombers 46 and the Jolters 42. Wild and rough one, Jerry.
It certainly was. I was wondering on that last play, when Tony Roman, once he got the lead, he almost, he's in the league scoring race with Mike Gammon. It must have crossed his mind, here is the possibility of 3 easy points, but also he had to face the possibility there of perhaps keeping the jam going and somehow allowing the Jolters to get 3, 4, or even 5 points. So he did the best thing. He just cut it off.
Well, a real battle all the way, a great game. The final score here from the Oakland Coliseum Arena again was the Bay Area Bombers 46 and the Jolters 42. I have with me Bob Woodbury and Ken Monty of the Red Devils, and in this kind of company, I'm going to be real polite. Now, who wants to speak first? I'm not going to argue with either one of you.
I'm the biggest out here, the tallest that is. I think I should speak first.
Well, how about age before beauty, Bob?
Well, Walt, you're already speaking, so I can't talk.
Let me ask you first, Bob, what do you think of the Bombers' new style of skating, and what can you do to combat it?
I'm the one who created it.
I won't argue that.
Charlie came back to the Bay Area this year picking heads. I'm coming back to bury them. Kenny's only going to be out there assisting me and picking them up.
That's right. That's my main goal, is just to pick up his leftovers.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
you know, this time with this style, if he's using your style, he's fighting back, though, Bob.
It's going to be sort of like, I guess it's going to be like a bomb that's meeting. And the exploding part is going to be right there between him and I, or whoever's going to be there.
Well, you've had some vicious match races with Charlie O'Connell in the past, but now he has a big man out there named Pete Boyd, who I know wants to get you on the track.
I'm the one that trained Pete Boyd also, and it's going to be a completely slaughterhouse there, because next Saturday night, this arena won't be able to hold the meat that's going to be laying on the outside of the track. Hope you'll be able to, Kenny, you'll be able to pick it up.
Ken, what about the...
Picking up with Pete Boyd, I'll tell you that right now.
Ken, what about the personnel on this Red Devil team?
Well, as you know, Walt, I've been retired more or less, and this is the only way I would have come out of retirement, with the team that's out there, with the team that we've got, the Red Devil team, with Ann Cavello, Bobby Severs, Bob Woodbury, JoJo Stafford, Rosetta Saunders, Rose Duran, and you can go on, and it's a well-balanced, just going to be a beautiful club.
Don't you have anybody that's sane on that club?
Sane? Yes, that's what I'm doing in the infield.
How about this big gal you've got now?
Hello, Linda Villanueva. Yeah, she goes about 230 pounds. If Pete gets too tough, we're going to put her against Pete. They're about the same weight.
I don't think they have to. I don't think they'll have to, because when I finish with him Saturday night, I don't think he's not going to have very much speed to go anywhere.
He doesn't have much speed to begin with, Woody, so the only thing you have to do is worry about running over him more than once.
Yeah, well, when you're as big as Pete Boyd, you don't need speed because you don't have to run from anybody.
Well, he's got to come to me.
But he can't hide neither when he's that big.
I don't know, you two sound like you have the same opinion.
That's right. We think alike. Bob and I both think alike. We know there's a job that has to be done. O'Connell and Pete Boyd coming out with this attitude that you such a Bomber fan to say that they're going to take revenge on all teams. Well, it's going to come to a screeching halt. This comes Saturday night.
Yeah, we talk alike because, as you probably know, this man, he's come out of the roller derby game too, and he's one of the roughest, tough skaters out there on the track, and I always admired him from his skating ability, because he was the type of skater who went out there and tried to win a game and win it the best accord that he could, and roughness came with the game, and that's the name that we're going to be going with next week here.
Okay, Bob Woodbury, thanks for talking with us. Ken Monty, thanks for talking with us. These two men representing the Red Devils in the big battle coming up against the Bay Area Bombers, who won here tonight over the Jolters 46-42. This is Walt Harris speaking from the Oakland Coliseum Arena.